In today's video, we're going to dive deep into how to start selling on Amazon as a beginner in 2025. With me is my good friend Coda. Combined, we've sold over $3.5 million on Amazon, and today we're going to share all the secrets with you. So if you want to see more content just like this, subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and hop right into it. So Coda, man, talk to us. Why and when did you start selling on Amazon?
I started selling on Amazon February 2023. I seen some other people, other gurus or coaches, having sponsored ads. Oh yeah, okay. So I'll look into it. It seemed like a really good opportunity. The job that I was working before, seasonal, sandblasting and painting water towers. Good paying job, except for you're working 7 days a week from, April to early November. So, I wanted to have something that could be scalable and on my time. So I was like, okay, this looks like an opportunity. We'll give it a go. If I hit over 10K the first month, we're just gonna, you know, try it out and just go all in. Did 12,000 the first month. So it's definitely a great opportunity.
There we go. I love to hear that. Yeah, I started my journey coming up on my 9th year selling on Amazon. I had been selling on eBay, as a teenager in high school, learned about Amazon, started selling out used books, got into retail arbitrage around COVID, now doing online arbitrage full time. And we've got the retail arbitrage king with us over here. So we'll definitely hop into some of those topics. So I know a lot of beginners watching are like, Carter, Coda, should we do FBA? Should we do FBM? What did you start doing when you first started your Amazon operation?
I started RA, FBM. When I started, I really didn't know how to make. I mean, I understand making a package isn't very hard, but that actually does stop a lot of people. So, like, I was like, man, I don't really know how. How am I going to get the label? When I do get the sale, do I hit? How do I get it? How do I get the transfer of information? Well, they already had it all set up. I was like, well, how about you just make the account? Make the account. Go find some products, which I went to Big Lots. I remember as a kid, my parents went there to go shopping for good deals. That's what they would say. And so I was like, well, let's check out Big Lots. And I went there, and the first product that I got was like some Dr. Teal's like bath salts or something. Um, they were $2.99, selling on Amazon for $22.99, and I bought 3 units, and I sold all 3 units within an hour of listing them in one order.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, okay, well, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to save on the shipping. So I literally had a box, went to the UPS store. I was like, can you tell me, like, does this look all right? Like, what do I do? And they're like, oh yeah, just put it in the box. I'm like, I can put all three. It's good. Like, yeah, no problem. Looking at me all confused. And yeah, so I had the sale. I was forced to get it done. So after, like, I didn't know how to do it, I figured out a way how to do it, and then it's just figuring out stuff as you go.
100%. Just taking the action. You sold the item. Guess what? Now you gotta ship it to your customer. And I kind of came from the eBay background, so I had all my inventory at my house. And at the time I was, living with my parents. So my bedroom was like inventory storage. And so at that time I was getting into like used books, video games, electronics. I didn't want my room to turn into an inventory space. And the big keyword was Amazon FBA. Amazon will hold your inventory, 2-day shipping. And so I started my journey with FBA, and very similar to you, just like any new seller watching, like the first FBA shipment you do, your first FBM shipment, like it's going to be difficult. Like it's a new process for if it's your first ever e-commerce business, like it's just very new. But the process is the same. So once you do it once, it's the same process, just different products, different package. So it will get easier as time goes on. And then Coda, you said what were like some of the first couple products you sold? Because I feel like a lot of beginners like, oh my gosh, what should I sell? I like fitness. Should I sell weight equipment? Like, what were some of your first products you sold?
So it was the bath, or yeah, Epsom salts. That was the first one. What was the other one? It was like a beauty, because one thing I always noticed is, like, a lot of Amazon sellers they target like beauty and stuff like that. So I was like, this has got to be a good category. I think it was like a toner or something like that.
Hmm.
That and maybe Rice Krispies or something like that. Then
It
like
got me hungry now, man.
then Old Spice deodorant I think might have been the first brand that I ungated with an invoice.
Okay.
So I went like the video that I was watching, it was the guy like like showing, hey, come check out like wholesale and like stuff like that. And usually it's like the beauty products or like health and personal care. I mean grocery as well too, but that's what I seen that like, he was selling. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna check that out in the store though. So that's kind of what I just ran with. Started over there in the, you know, toothpaste, deodorant section, then went to grocery, and then you're finding yourself instead of stopping right there, all over the store, and then you're finding brands in different categories everywhere.
Yeah, so you were basically just buying anything that was making you a profit to kind of summarize it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the name of the game as a beginner. Like when I started, like I was just anything I can buy, it doesn't matter what category brand it is. Like if I can sell it for a profit, I'm going to go for it. And like I started out, used books, electronics, video games, this way back in the day. Now I'm doing a lot of like, clothing, shoes and apparel, beauty, grocery. Like, so if you're a beginner, just test a lot of things, see what works well for you, and then you can try to master. Like if you figure out, oh, I really like beauty or toys, or I see we got some shoes behind you, Coda. Like then put more focus there, you'll get better, and you can outcompete your competition as well. So I think you're spot on there. Let's fast forward to today because I know you've been selling Amazon for a while. I've been selling on Amazon for a long while. Can you talk about your current business model? Because there's all kind of business models, online arbitrage, book reselling, wholesale, RA, private label. Like there's a lot. And so it can kind of be, overwhelming for somebody that's a brand new beginner. Coda, can you break down what business model that you're mainly doing right now and then why you've kind of made that decision?
So currently, right now, we're doing more RA that we were doing a couple of months ago. Some brands did get restricted from Amazon, and I would say probably 70% of the OA side that we had, going straight to prep center. Um, pretty much I delegated the OA as much as I can. So then I can go do RA and focus on getting stuff that had higher profit margin. So like higher profit margin that I'm going to the store, and then just like the replenishables for the outsourced OA stuff. Combining a lower margin to a higher one is going to bring your margin up higher. So I do both. I'm probably going to be hitting wholesale in the future, looking into it pretty deep now. I mean, I've done like a little bit of wholesale, cash and carry, local stuff, hitting up local suppliers, but I know there's other ways, probably more efficient ways to do it. But yeah, so we did all the OA stuff was all FBA, and then the RA stuff, it's in front of me, and then I FBM it. So I'd say 98% of the stuff I get in person, I'll just use FBM.
I love it, man. Yeah, and I mean, I started reselling books. I got into retail arbitrage during COVID, crushed it there with all sorts of items, swimming pools, vitamins, chlorine. I was definitely a crazy time. Now I'm doing essentially 100% online arbitrage. I actually have virtual assistants overseas who help me find profitable products that I can focus majority of my time actually, reviewing the leads, deciding quantities, purchasing. And then, I live in a sales tax state, so I utilize also a sales tax free prep center who helps prep ship my inventory to Amazon so I can take advantage of the FBA business model. But I feel like retail arbitrage is just a great business model for beginners because one, the margins are great. And then there's, things like you might have, different geographical advantages, like in the state of Texas, there's a store called HEB. They're only in Texas. Coda, who lives up north, he doesn't have access to that store. So if you live in Texas, you have an advantage. Vice versa, there's all kind of regional stores around. But while we've got the retail arbitrage king here, what are some tips that you would give to a beginner Amazon seller. Like maybe they're just got started, they've got cash and credit ready, but they're like, what store should I go to? What section should I start with? Do I just scan every item in the store? Do I go to the clearance aisle? Like, what's kind of like a winning, play for someone trying to get into the retail arbitrage game?
So I would say the first thing, like your account's fresh. So I mean, you could go in any part of this, whatever store you're going to, what are the Big Lots, Walmart, but you're still going to run into the same exact problem, which is going to be like well, now recently there's more restrictions, but invoices. So I'd say as a beginner, and the reason why the gating system. So it's like why, and people are like, oh, it's gated. Oh, that stinks, But there's a reason they want that, Most of the products that I sell now are either restricted and other people can't sell them, and I can because I've sold so much of it in the past 2 years of selling. So that gives me advantage. So most of the products that I do sell did require an invoice or they're restricted now. But I would say just literally whatever store you go to, even if you're just opening the account today, scan the stuff around your house. Go to any store, start in one section, whether it's toys, or health and personal care or beauty, whatever it is. But just scan everything and click that request approval button.
Yeah.
Some of them are going to have invoices. Some of them are going to have you have to watch a video. Some of them are going to be auto engate. And then, some are restricted you won't be able to apply for. But you do that and you have, let's say, 50 seller applications and you're getting approved for 50 brands in one day, which I actually did. I think it was 140 because then I figured I can
Wow.
go through the selling applications. So I went back for the first 2 weeks and just went through all of them and got I think 30 of them. I had to watch the video, and then uh, they got the auto engate or whatnot. But yeah, just request approval. That will show Amazon that you actually have some activity and you're going through a lot of brands that are potential for you to sell. So I'd say that, but yeah, maybe like starting off brand new. Go to like Marshalls, Ross, Big Lots, Ollie's, Walmart. Walmart's kind of, it seems like it'd be easier, but they just have so many products on a Walmart. So I mean, it's kind
Oh
of
yeah.
harder. Um, I'd say like discount stores, ones that are actually known. Some people say thrift stores. I think those days are over with, just due to like Amazon's policy. Maybe not used books, just
Yeah, that's
because
probably
they're
the only exception I would
yeah,
think there.
yeah, just because they want to see a supply chain now. So, I mean, I don't really know anything but like the collectibles or if you need to have a receipt. So I'm not sure there. I've never done it. But, you know, I would say going to a store that's an authorized like distributor or a retailer.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. The ungates are something that you have to go through as a beginner, but like you said, you can look at it two different ways. Oh my gosh, selling on Amazon sucks. All these brands are gated. Or you can be like, hey, this brand, every new seller is gated for. That means if I can find a way to get successfully ungated in this brand, I can now sell a brand that not all Amazon sellers have. So if you want to find a way to avoid competition, like Coda said, try to sell what others can't. And like you said, a big portion of my storefront are some of those items that I had to go through the pain, the time, the money to get ungated for. And now a much smaller percentage of sellers have access to sell it. And then ungating, I would like to think or consider it very low risk. Like, for example, you can go and buy 10 units of an item, submit that invoice to Amazon. You can add additional information. Worst comes to worst, they don't accept your submissions. You can return the units back to the retailer. You didn't hear that from me. But, it's not really, you're not going to really lose money in that situation. But the upside is you have access to now sell a brand that, well, not everybody else has access to. And one thing I wanted to touch on, Coda, is mistakes. So obviously, me and you, we've been in the game for a while. We've sold a lot on Amazon. I don't know about you, but I've made plenty of mistakes along the way, especially in my new seller days that either, lost me money or, gave me headaches and just kind of set me back a little bit. What is maybe a common mistake that you see newer Amazon sellers making? What is that mistake? And what advice would you give to someone to try and avoid it?
So most of the mistakes that I see that my students do is, I'm helping them one on one, and I tell them like, look, okay, this product, I just give them an example here and there, give them a bone so they can start out. And it might be a product that they can't sell, but like, look, I bought 100 of these and they sold really good. See if you can get it on Gator or whatnot. Well, once, let's say somebody finds a product and they're, they think they'll be able to ungate the brand and it'll be like an invoice, and they've already submitted for that brand or for a different brand before, but they purchased it, submitted it, got ungated, because it was like, let's say, a $10 profit per unit. So they'll try the same thing, and then they kept getting denied, and now you have all this like money that you spent and stale inventory you can't do anything with. Or they found something, they did a test buy of, anywhere. I recommend doing like anywhere from 2 to 5 if you've never sold the brand before. Um, they'll jump, they'll see it, a whole bunch of it, they'll buy 40 units of it, and then jump on there and it's, maybe sell one, and then they have to go to the store and return it with 40 units. And, instead of doing that, just because somebody else is doing that, you don't know how long they've been selling that product for. Another thing people don't talk about is the account health score. A new seller, if they're on a listing and one of us come on there, we're going to be taking those sales, just because our account health is definitely going to be, I don't know what yours is, but it'll be definitely double of what a new seller's account health score would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely helps.
So yeah, I would just say overbuying and not test buying enough different products. So if there's like a brand I've never sold and it looks really, really good, I'll, and let's say we're in the store, I will list that item in the store right then and there.
Mm.
And then, I'll still be going around grabbing the stuff that I know that will sell good. And so let's see if it sells between now until the end of the day where I'm sourcing. And if it does, then I'll start grabbing it at the next store, that I'll know it's good. So definitely test buying, and being very careful at first. Just because it happened on one thing doesn't mean another. If you know how to read all the data, like everything, then it'd be easier. But most new people don't. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. You definitely just saved a lot of people watching this some time, headaches, and money as well. And I think the two common mistakes I see is choosing the wrong business model. Like if you're coming in and you're trying to get into wholesale right away, private label right away, like those business models require a lot of capital and most of the time a lot of experience. So if you come in with limited capital and you come in with no experience, it's a recipe for things to potentially go wrong. So always recommend starting out with something like retail arbitrage or online arbitrage, or even selling used books, just to kind of get your feet wet. And then the second one is to all my online arbitrage sellers out there, which is buying products online, maybe even retail arbitrage to an extent. I don't think enough people focus on restocking and replenishing items. And trust me, I didn't do this for a long time. I was always hunting the next great discount coupon deal. I would sell it in profit, but it was always a hunt for the next product, for the next find. But what I figured out is a lot of times that same item will go on a very similar sale, discount, coupon code to where I can get it for around the same buy cost. And so by just putting some more time, focus, and energy there, I've started to get some more replenishment items to my store, which means not every single day I'm having to look for the next item as well. So I guess that one's not so much a mistake, but just a tip as well. And the next question I have is, what softwares do it use? When you're a beginner, there's all sorts of sourcing softwares, repricers. What do you think are the starter software package, like a newer Amazon seller? Because there's a lot of softwares, and we want to run a lean operation. What do you think people should start with?
So we'll just start if you're brand new. If you're brand new, Clearly, it's $40. I think it's still $40 for the Amazon seller account. Um, you're not even going to notice the $40 when you start getting going, though. Definitely need Keepa. There is a free version. You could download it. Um, if you're like day one, go ahead and use the free version. But I'm telling you, if you're trying to get into this seriously and you're really about it, you're going to need Keepa the subscription because it shows you the offer counts, which when you start learning how to read charts, it is essential. Like you mandatory. You need it. So Keepa is one of them. I think it's $20 a month or something right around there. Once again, not much. Um, Cellaramp is what I use. There's a few other good ones, but Cellaramp is pretty spot on. I'd recommend that to anyone, and I recommend it to my students. Um, I would say those two are the ones that you need right at first. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. At least need those. Now, when you start talking about like repricers and stuff, most of those repricers, if you're actually getting one that's going to do what you want it to do and be able to compete with the other people who are using them, there's usually some tiers of pricing. What I use is Be Cool. It's $100 a month. It's AI repricing. I think it checks every 15 or 30 minutes, something like that. But it's it works pretty good. But I would not say you even need that until you have 20 to 30 products that you have volume. Not you're going to run out in 3 days, or even replenishables to make it worth it. And if you have over that, uh, I would think that let's say somebody has 100 to 200 ASINs, right? And they're not using a repricer, they're actually losing money not using that repricer, as if they had the repricer hooked up to those. And let's say somebody who is preventing them from getting any sales at all, and they've been trying to get as low as they can. Now they run out of stock. Your repricer, let's say you had something for $44, and then boom, out of nowhere, now you sold all your units for $58, which this has actually happened to me with those prices. So just that 1 hour that I had that product, it went up $14, and I think I had like 12 sets, so 12 units of that product. So I mean, right there, almost it might have even paid for it, or if not, really close to that 1 hour. Then you'll need to know your numbers. Knowing your numbers is huge. Not kind of knowing them. You need to know them. I use Inventory Lab. Let's see,
Same.
their seller board as well too. And I think Boxum has something going on where you can actually have your numbers in there, like your cost price and everything. Um, those three, I haven't heard bad things about any of them. So those would be the three softwares that or accounting softwares that I would recommend. So we got the Cellaramp, Keepa, and then maybe wait 2 months if you're like in the field, like really trying to make this work. You could wait 2 months and then, or before the end of the year, and get Inventory Lab or Boxum or Seller Board. I mean, it doesn't take too long unless you have 300 ASINs. You got to put the price in. So I'd say those are the softwares I would recommend.
Yeah, spot on. I'll try to have maybe a list below in the description to kind of have each one out if you want to check those out. But I think you're spot on. Like, I recommend people run just a lean operation starting. Keep it Cellaramp. It's like less than maybe $50 a month. And then once you start taking it more serious, have some more instance, obviously to get your reprice or have your accounting software. One that I wanted to mention as well is these are totally free, but these are your cash back extensions. So Rakuten and Top Cashback are the two that I use. I recommend to everybody. They're free. You can earn cash back when you purchase inventory online. So if you're doing online arbitrage and you want to make more money, make sure you get those two. But I think Coda ended up hitting all those softwares perfectly. And we're actually recording this at the beginning of the year. So Coda, I mean, there's people listening in. They see me. They see you having success. What are your plans this year selling on Amazon, if you don't mind sharing?
We're going to be looking more into the wholesale. Just we've seen so many sellers that's been selling for a long time, and newer ones too, that they were ungated for brands and then they got restricted randomly. Um, so how do you prevent that? Let's say that happens to you. How can you, I guess, not 100%. prevent it, but make the odds in your favor and have a strong percent chance that won't happen is doing a wholesale route. So we've been looking to that for past month or two, but we're probably going to look into that. Either brand direct. I mean, then you get their permission. I mean, that's the one thing that people don't talk about either is like, I got approved to sell this on Amazon, but did you get approval from the brand? That is actually what a requirement is too. Now, does Amazon know this? 100% they know this. Even though you applied, they just automatically assume that you have permission. But I mean, littler brands, they might come after you. The bigger ones, they don't care because they see the revenue of how much money they are taking in from the resellers. So just focusing like on bigger brands or whatnot if you were newer. But yeah, I like to do like name brand brands, whether it's going to be brand direct or through one of the recommendations from the brand when I call them, one of those distributors or whatnot. Also, we're going to do hit Walmart pretty hard too. That's going to be in the future or whatnot. But yeah, I think that's going to be the main thing is the wholesale.
There we go, man. That's definitely going to be exciting. I'm sure we'll be talking behind the scenes about that. And yeah, for myself, my Amazon business, my VA team, we did a lot of clothing, shoes, and apparel, and it was great. However, we got to the point where we scaled so large that there was a lot of leakage going on. Amazon losing inventory, discrepancies in our FBA shipments, and also just the returns were really not killing our margin, but my margin wasn't as high as I wanted. So this year, I'm really having my team and I kind of take that next obstacle in terms of sourcing outside of shoes, clothing, and apparel, which is somewhat new to us, and then kind of targeting some of those lower return rate items. I think we might do a little bit less in revenue, but I think our profit and also profit margin goes up as well. So I'm definitely excited to make that happen. But that's probably going to wrap up our call today. If you want more content just like this on how you can grow and scale your Amazon business, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to follow Coda's journey, reach out to him about retail arbitrage. If you have any questions for him, I'll have his Instagram at the first link in the description of this video. Y'all go follow him, show him some love. We'll also have some more resources below in the description, my Instagram, links to the software as we mentioned about. And with that being said, Coda, any final piece of advice you have to the beginner Amazon sellers watching this video?
If you guys are thinking about starting the account, just go do it. Don't worry about figuring out, oh, I don't know how to make a package. Just go do it. Just sign up and then list the stuff, figure it out. Just go with the flow, and then you'll be in a position where you have to do some of this stuff and you have to learn it. And just try to take the opportunity while you can. Don't let stuff hold you back.
Spot on, man. Wise words. Perfect. Well, I appreciate all of you watching Coda. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll hopefully see you all in the next video. Peace out, everyone. Bye-bye.